Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys had an incredible weekend. Hope you guys are just feeling good. Today, we have another week ahead of us. Last week, kind of big chop fest. I think we pulled out of it pretty good, but we got another week ahead. So let's pull up the SPY real quick. Lost on the list. Way too many tickers. There we go. We got the SPY. Perfect. As we pull this up, you guys are piling into the room, but oh man, we got Chuck in the house. We got Al in the house. Albert, good morning. We got Alex, Babic, Brian, Emily, $3 sign. Young is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Eric, Fayaz, Fabo. Good morning to Greg K. GW. Helen is with us. Helen, I don't did we talk before, Helen? I'm not quite sure. Either way, good morning to you, Helen. We got Jay in the house, Jeremy, Kevin. We got Liza with us, Lauren, Mike, Rock. We got my boy Ron, Tony, Win, Yovaris is with us. We got YouTube land people. We got Richard, Jet. Good morning, Ayush, Maximo. That's a strong name, Maximo. What was the name of the gladiator with Russell Crowe? Oh, his name is Maximus. My name is Maximus Aurelius III, and I will have my vengeance. We got Daniel in YouTube land. All right, let's see if we can get some vengeance on this market. We have a little bit of a gap up. I think it's an okay gap. It's not horrible. It is definitely a retest gap coming in from Friday, so that should be something I would expect to retest. We are also at one little level of 398.36 on the SPY, so we're slightly below that at this point. I think we actually just ran up into it pre-market though. Good spot to reject and probably fade actually bearish at least to 397.27. We have a few levels down here, which could give us some kind of support. Maybe we don't come all the way back, but we also have a good VPOC somewhere around 395.93. So I think this is a fadeable gap. Again, it does look good. Let's see what it looks like on a weekly chart, though. A weekly chart. And the other thing to watch out for, this is the last week of the month, right? So we're going to start to get those monthly candles to form. If we close fairly strong, we close back up in this range, we close anywhere above 405.29, yeah, that's going to be extremely bullish. Watch out for protect your shorts and start looking in a long direction. This week on this monthly candle, right now we're sitting at a doji. So if we have a very strong month, and this looks like some kind of just big wick, some traps, yeah, that's going to look really, really bullish by the end of this week for going forward as a monthly, pretty big bullish candle. If it doesn't hold this week and we end up fading and we got all red down here, and this is a very bad week for us, that's not a great sign. So I do think this week's going to have a lot to do with it, and we could also easily close as some kind of a doji on the month and then kick the can down the road to next month and see which way we finally want to break out. But there's a lot of uncertainty. The banks are the catalyst today for the pump, so we'll see. But we are gapping above the weekly high. Again, that will take us it was still inside last week, so we didn't really break out anything like that. So it's not a bad gap on the SPY. We do have some resistance, and I think this one will play through to the technicals of this being a retest gap more than anything. At least dip first, and then maybe we look to go long. All right, we got the Qs, which look a lot nicer. Again, still a retest gap from Friday, but there's not a lot so far in the way. We even broke that. We're looking good on the Qs. So the safety play has been tech lately. That's where the markets have been flooding to, just piling in insane amounts of money for protection from banks, I would assume. But still a retest gap. See if we can get a bounce or any kind of saving grace around 311.23. So that's the level that's got to hold somewhere in that range, maybe 311.25, something like that. But right in that range. So about 50 cents lower if we come back for a retest. If that breaks, the next level I'm kind of looking for is 310.22 to save us. But even that, that's going to take a little bit of the strength off the table. We get through that 311.20, I'll call it 25, but 23, something like that. So we'll see. But the cues do look interesting. Interesting enough where we're breaking out of key levels and key VPOCs too. Let's check out Tesla. So I know Jeremy posted he's looking to maybe go long on Tesla. So let's see what he's looking at. That is a good gap and go. Yep. So you have a good gap and go. Range bound would be the question though for me. We could definitely get past this point, right? So that's 196.46 is the level I'm looking at. That does give us about $2 to the higher side. This is gap and go. We're trapping some people. We had some volume coming on Friday. Nothing crazy. Let's see what the weekly looks like, though. Weekly is okay. Technically a retest on the weekly. So maybe we can pull back somewhere around this 190.82 zone would be a retest of the close of Friday, the close of last week. And then if we're going to rally, probably something like that might come into play. But it is a good gap and go in the market. I'm a little concerned about the 196.88 for me. But if we could get down close to the 190, that might be a decent spot to buy. So if we could come back essentially to this 190.41 zone, that would be a really nice entry spot to try to attempt to play Tesla bullish. So I'm going to keep that in mind. 190.41, that would be the close of last week. Lauren likes DAL. Yeah, so do I. Yep. Good volume, a little bit of a hammerish doji-ish looking candle. So maybe we found some support. Target on this one though would be at least the first target would be probably about 32.34. So we could make some money on that one. It doesn't have to stop there, but that'd be definitely a good location for it to do. So, and I would prefer this target up here. That takes me to about 32.90. So if we get through that one little level, I could see some resistance coming in there. But going back to this second pivot probably could get us past it. You know, worst case, I do like the volume that came in on Friday. Let's take a look real quick at the weekly. Weekly, we're still kind of hanging out a little bit to the low side. It was not a great close on the weekly. But this is 3 weeks in a row that we just sold off. So you would kind of expect some kind of a bounce, maybe even like a 50% retrace as a swing basis. That would give you a really nice return up to like 34.64. So definitely want to keep on the watch list. Good. I have it as so far the number one spot. But I like that gap and go even better than Tesla. Tesla I would like to fade a little bit more. We'll see what happens. We got pins. PINS. Pins looks really nice. The next target on pins is 28.88. So it gives us about 30 cents to the higher side. Let's check the weekly on this one. With pins though, pins is a little bit different than Delta. Delta's been selling off. Pins had a nice little run up from essentially $23 into this. The high was 28.53, and we are opening currently at that high with probably about 28.88, somewhere in that zone. So there is some people profitable in the bullish direction already with this one. The weekly chart looks decent though. So on a weekly chart, this would technically be a retest. See if we get some kind of a pullback, and then buying long does make sense. There's a nice little downtrends. We broke it. We retested it, and yeah, pins are starting to look pretty decent. almost a little bit of inverse head and shoulders too. So you do have this being your left shoulder, this being the head, this being the right shoulder. This again is the neckline. That's the break, the retest. So all the technicals are working out right now on pins. So pins is looking good. Lulu, be careful, Lulu. I think they do have earnings sometime this week. I'm not sure exactly what day, but they do have earnings coming out. Just double check. Let's see what TradingView wants to tell me about earnings. I don't know if that's today or not, or if they maybe had it already. Option volatility. Carnival Cruise. Just a handful of names reporting this week, including Carnival Cruise. You got Walgreens reporting. Again, Lululemon, Foot2 Holdings, and Micron Technology. Micron's going to be interesting. Walgreens will be interesting in terms of maybe some of the staples. I think Lulu is going to be one of the most watched earnings this week. And then Carnival is Carnival. Carnival is by itself a Carnival. Okay, so Tuesday, you have Lululemon coming out. So tomorrow there's earnings, so don't look probably for a swing. Or if you do, just know that it does have earnings, so be prepared to build that into your trade. But yeah, on a weekly basis, a little bit of a retest gap. Let's check out the daily. Nice little gap up. Again, that is a retest gap. We are opening into slight little resistance. So see if we get the pullback first if you want to go long. I'm probably not going to short this one. Maybe I could continue to play this momentum as people do like stretchy pants getting into the earnings. So we'll see what happens on that. You have hit a nice double bottom. So that looks interesting. And then a little bit of a high wave indecision, almost a bullish engulfing candle. Not quite, but get kind of close to it. And probably momentum will be bullish. So look for buy the dip on like 314.19 if it comes back. But Win says me too. Let's see, JP Morgan. Yeah. So anything bank wise is going to be, again, the banking industry is the catalyst for the jump today. So you might have a little bit more success going bullish on some of these names. Huge volume came in on JP Morgan on Friday. And we are clearly gapping above that. We're also gapping above two other prior pivots. Look for like 128.50 is going to be our first little resistance. So again, on a risk to reward basis, maybe not so much yet. Unfortunately, I just don't know where I would put my stop. That makes sense after this gap, but that is a gap and go. We could probably look to go bullish, and we'll see what happens on this one. I think we probably, my guess, if I would map this thing out, I don't know exactly, but let's say we get up into that zone, then I think we come back, do something like that, almost retest this hammer, which would also be a retest into this VPOC. That would probably be your bounce spot. And if you're going to go bullish, I think something like that could happen, but we will watch JP Morgan today for sure. Looks like Trump's rally over the weekend gave the market some hope. It was just, yeah, delivered a speech. Probably had nothing to do with the markets, but people go, yeah, let's buy the market. Probably unrelated. We might be stretching on that one. All right, let's see. We got JP Morgan. Let's see FRC as well. I know that they have a pretty sweet gap up. Technically a retest gap. Resistance. So I'm watching this one. And the reason I'm watching this one too is obviously I have a position in it. I do have some sold puts, which they're $10.15, April 21st. And then I did sell cover calls, which expired Friday. So now at this point, I want to get more covered calls on FRC. My question that I'm asking is where. The last ones I had were $21. I picked them up at like 19 when the stock price was 19. I picked up $21 cover calls. The spot I'm looking for is about 1684, so slightly under 17. That's going to give us our first resistance. FRC did have trouble. Anytime we really got into the $16 range, it did have some trouble. But the problem with what I'm looking for is I want to get as close or as high as possible before selling the cover calls. So this would be a retest gap, but we're also gapping above two other decent sell days. We had a lot of volume on this day. Technically, it's green, but it kind of just looks like a little indecision doji. If we could get past 16, I'm going to call it, I'll go 1693. If we get past 1693, there's nothing in the way on this one until realistically about that $21 target. Then I could probably look to sell the 25s. So I have to think about my strategy of which ones I want, because I do want to hold it as long as possible, but make money every single week by selling some calls and selling some puts, things like that. So we'll see. But again, nice little gap up on that one. CCL earnings is 9:15 this morning. CCL comes out with weird like they'll put something out for it's going to be this time, and then they're either early or late, or there's usually never 9:15. But yeah, it is usually during the market open. Nothing came out yet. I don't believe anything came out yet, unless it just maybe they released it now. I don't know. We are getting a little gap up. Just again, be careful. We do have earnings coming out today, and again, not sure if they came out as of yet, but we are gapping up, and it looks like the market is moving. Yep, CCL is going wild. So I'm not sure. Maybe they did release it already. Extended trading hours. To me, it seems like that's I've seen it with the algos before the report gets released too, but somebody let me know if they did release it. But they do release things at just strange, wild times. So we'll see how CCL wants to do, if anyone's going on vacation or not. CMCSA for Alex. Let's go to the daily chart. So yeah, from Friday, it's a retest gap. I do like the location we're opening at. We probably actually don't get too much of a pullback on this one. Question would be targets. So I would say if you're going to try to attempt to play this gap, your first spot that you're looking for, I wouldn't blind order this one, but 36.19, that would be my first spot that I'm looking for. That's not going to give you great risk to reward because it depends on where you want to throw your stop. The next target spot would be about 36.39. So that's not going to give you too much to work with. Ideally, you're going to want some kind of entry about 35.94 if it could get down there. That would be a full-on retest. You got good support here, support there, and then your risk to reward's a lot better because you could probably throw stops somewhere maybe like 35.52, and you have a lot more room. Obviously we could get rejected anywhere there, but if not, probably the real target is going to be about 36.68. So try to buy this one. For me, it's about a 1-to-1 almost risk to reward. It's a coin toss of if we're able to get through either supports or resistance. So buying it lower, we get some decent. There's the Carnival earnings. Just decent risk off the table for you, or at least give you better reward. Jay says Carnival Q1 earning per shares 55 cents beats. They're looking for minus 60. Oh, they lost minus 55 as opposed to all right. Buy any company that just loses money, but less money than expected. I think that's the moral of that story. We got sales of 4.43 billion beat for okay. So they got some dollars coming in. The problem in a long-term basis is they're so diluted and so heavy on debt because of the whole COVID shutdown. They were in debt prior to COVID, so they weren't that stable prior to it. So in a long-term investment, I still have trouble wrapping my heads around the cruise ship, especially after all the dilution. But and I think they do still continue to dilute. All right, we got Square before trade basis. I mean, they lost less than they thought, which is nice, I guess. I mean, who can't rally behind that? All right, we got Square, aka Block, aka Fraud, aka massive week last week. Here's a good old deceiving bullish candle. You're like, oh, look, it's a bull candle, but you're down 20%. What I would be focusing on is on Friday. So Friday, we had another inside. I think we're going to continue to play these inside candles on square for a while, but maybe we get down to 61. At least on this one, we have a clear stop. If this thing starts to break at any point, 56.42, this stock is going much, much lower. Otherwise, pretty decent area to buy. Technically, this is a retest gap. It will take us a while to get up there if we do come back to retest. But anything on square right now, that's your candle, 56.31. If that starts breaking that, good night, Sally. This thing will be hitting some new lows. We're probably, like I said, going to play this high wave for a little bit of time. I do think that. The other stock, so probably nothing too much on, at least out of the gate on square, but maybe during the day we get some technicals. Microsoft, to me, still looks like it could be leaning to the bullish side. Probably out of the gate, though, we come back. This is a good close. I think this one has to come back for a retest. And looking for about 278.10 to play this little run up. We might be most likely. I mean, you most likely getting in a little late if this is a 1, 2. This is your 3, 4, and 5. So right now we have a little double top. I do think that we at least have to come in to retest that. So at open. Again, it's going to be very difficult to short this thing, but at open, I would say, okay, maybe this is a double top and a bigger direction change. I don't have any proof of that yet. We're just playing that, okay, if we break out of that pivot, take the loss, call it a day. But to fake this one back to VPOC in that area would make sense. So that gives you a little bit to work with. And then depends if we could break that or not. Again, spin's super, super strong. We do have a wave count that's pretty much, I do expect probably to hang out there maybe for a little bit longer. And then if we continue bullish, but we are above all VPOCs and directions bullish, all that stuff. So be careful on that one. Let me see in a longer time frame. So I don't know if that's a 1, then that's 2, 3, 4. Even in a bigger move, that could be your 5. We are pulling into some levels of resistance, but that is a little bit higher, 290s. So we'll see on that one. NVIDIA. Maloney says, for the first time in forever, there's no gap on Meta. We'll check Meta out. So now what do you do with your day, Maloney? You just probably knit sweaters and stuff. Like if there's no gap on Meta, what do I do? I don't know. Maybe some mittens. I don't know. We got NVIDIA. Just open the Etsy store. This live stream to YouTube is sponsored by Maloney's Etsy store. Handcrafted knitted mittens. We got NVIDIA's, again, NVIDIA with a slight little gap up. Back into these resistance zones, 270, 270, 20, and then we got 272, 38. It's been absolutely bullish. I do have the put on this one, and I'm still holding it. I think I got in around a 272, so I'm still happy with my entry price, but we'll see what happens. And again, this one's gapping. This is gapping. Still kind of inside day candle, so we'll let it bygones be bygones and just let it do its thing. You got Amazon. I don't know, team. We have. I think we get a little fade in a lot of these things first, even though there's some gap and goes. Delta I think Delta is the most interesting one for me. Netflix, I mean, maybe continues bullish. Disney could be interesting. We have to play the House of Mouse today. I wish there was more volume on Friday. Do wish that. Weekly charts. probably not that impressive. Yeah, not really. I mean, that's a big old candle down. Probably we hit the 618. So the weekly doesn't look that great. The daily, yeah, gap and go. We are above some support. Probably target on this one take us to about 96.33. So that gives us about 96.27. It gives us about $1.27 to play with from the open before resistance hits. But if we're coming into a longer term, maybe reversal spot, that might be interesting. If this is, I mean, it's not picture perfect at all. But if we have, maybe this is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This little thing is ABC. This is our break. This is our retest. For swing trade, it actually might not be. For swing trade, it might not be horrible. We just got to get above. Realistically, we got to get above this spot, and then we get back to the $100 zone. So that gives you about $5 a share if you get to the $100 zone, and then clearly, if this is a 1, this is a 2. I would expect this to be 3. Probably 3 would probably get into the 100 zone. So let me redraw this. This is 3, come back down 4, and then we get some kind of a break on 5 to 102.50, something like that. All right, I got to watch Disney pretty close. I don't know how we could do with that day trade purpose because it's only $1.27. It's not much. We need a decent position, but if we can find a spot, I like it. All right, and let me move Delta up. Is Baba doing anything crazy? We got see how some of the Chinese names are doing. See Baba. I don't know. I don't know if I mind Baba here either. We got a good bounce off the 618. We do have kind of an inside day on Friday. Gonna have this one area to break. If this one breaks 87.92, I could see a little bit more momentum, but honestly, I would love for this thing to pull back. I don't know if we do or not, but that was a good bounce off that 618. So I think we do have to watch Baba too, just in case. For day trade out of the gate, probably nothing on Baba. Not yet. I'd have to wait. And let's go to Boeing. Thoughts on the Amazon gap up? I think I looked at it briefly, but I don't know how much I covered it. So let me just go back to that while we have a minute left. Yeah, it's just we have good resistance, probably about $100, 111. It is technically a retest gap, so I'd be looking to maybe, I don't know how much of the more this runs, the happier I would be to short it down into the retest, but you are about 50-50. So it's not so much today the gaps for me, it's the ranges. I haven't really found a really good range that I really, really like. But that being said, we got about 30 seconds left. We'll see how this day plays out. We'll see what this market wants to give us. And we'll look at real quick Coinbase. Same thing. Otherwise, we only got 22 seconds left. So I'm going to try to be patient at open. I think that's my best strategy. See if we get some things to kind of fade when everybody's kind of thinking a little bit more to the bullish side. Maybe we can lock some of those profits in. Anything financial would be decent, but we got 5 seconds left. Everybody YouTube land, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. Make sure you guys check out reallifetrading.com for latest updates. Subscribe if you have not. We put out content pretty much almost daily.